Welcome to Financial Planning Explained. I'm your host, Mike Menninger, Certified Financial Planner, owner and founder of Menninger and Associates Financial Planning. I also have one of my associates with me, also a Certified Financial Planner, Kyle Ryan. Kyle, thanks for joining me.
Yep.
I also have another guest on my show today. Friend of mine, client of mine. I've known Mike for 15 years now, I guess, 16, something like that, somewhere around there.
Long time now.
So I've known Mike for a bunch of years, and what we're going to talk about today is he owns two franchise restaurants, Mexican restaurants, Pancheros, and he is in the process of building a third one, which will actually be a topic of the show because the timing of it is rather interesting, and it happens to only be about a half a mile from the studio here. And since he was in town and worked out a date that we were doing it, here we are. So Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about the beginning of it. You bought your first restaurant when?
So in the, it really started in the fall of 2008.
Good timing.
Right. I mean, I had the idea. I was working in finance. I think the finance office I was in even shared an office with the finance office you were in.
Right.
And I had done well in financial services leading up until the 2008 crash. And then during the crash, it just, not a lot of business was happening. There was a lot of stagnation in all the marketplaces.
Everything froze.
And I had an idea ever since I went to the University of Tennessee where they put a burrito place on campus, right? And we started eating there every day. I ran track there, and all the guys on the track team, we'd get done practice and we'd go there. We almost ate there, like I said, every day. So I had an idea from probably around the early 2000s that if I could bring really good quality burritos back to where I grew up in southern New Jersey, it would be amazing. It would kill it.
Was there anything there, even a Taco Bell, or? Yeah,
so growing up, there was a Taco Bell on the way home from Long Beach Island that we would stop at every time we go surfing. It was like a tradition. And then there was a Taco Bell like over in Berlin. So I lived in Medford, so we'd have to drive 10 miles to Berlin. But yeah, not a lot of options, Yeah. I mean, there was, what was the place in Marlton, like the Mexican Food Factory? There was a place called the Mexican Food Factory, But really, I couldn't shake that idea of bringing like a real good, fast, casual burrito.
Right.
Kind of like I traveled pretty extensively surfing through California and stuff. And that kind of California, you get done surfing, you go into a little shop, you get a burrito this big, and you're good for the day, And so when I'm sitting there at my financial service office, up there in the Atrium building in Mount Laurel, I'm just not doing any work because there wasn't any work to be done, and I'm just saying, I got to do it. This is the chance. And only because I'd saved up a bunch of money during my early time in finance, and I just decided this was going to be it. So
why Pancheros?
So in the fall of 2008, I had contacted the Moe's Corporation, Moe's Southwest Grill.
Okay.
And we had begun the process of having me buy all of South Jersey's territory, because Moe's is what we had on the University of Tennessee campus. My girlfriend at the time, my now wife, who's in the studio, she came back from medical school and visited me for a little bit, and I took her to a Moe's. I'm all excited, and I took her to Moe's. I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm going to put all my money into. And she goes, this is terrible. What are you thinking?
Didn't like the food?
Didn't like the food, yeah. And she's from California.
Well, did she not go to the one at University of Tennessee? Didn't she go to Tennessee?
She went to she ran track out in California at Fresno State. So we didn't meet in college.
Right. Okay.
But she just said, this is no good. And so on the way home, we stopped by a Pancheros, and it was the first ever Pancheros.
On the way home, where?
We were coming from...
In New Jersey?
In New Jersey.
Okay.
We were at a Moe's up in Hamilton. And
we
were coming back to where we lived in Lumberton.
Yeah.
And we stopped at a Pancheros that had just opened. It was the first one in the whole Northeast. And we went in there and she was just like, now this is something I can get behind. They make their tortillas fresh. They mix all the ingredients in their burrito. The inside is warm and friendly and, not harsh, abrasive, like metallic, And so that was the day. I mean, that was on a weekend, and Monday morning I'm calling Franchise Corporation in Iowa, and I was on a plane at the end of October out there.
Interesting.
And I wore like a suit, and if the people from Pancheros Corporate are watching this, they probably joke because I show up like a New York City slicker. I mean, I was in Calvin Klein suit, tie, and trench coat, everything. And I was just going out there to do an introduction, but I think I even had spreadsheets with me about like some demographics, and I was 27 at the time.
I know, that's young.
I think I was 26 that fall or 27, and I guess I did a good job because they let me.
27.
Yeah, I was 27, so they let me do it.
So what does it take to open a franchise besides guts?
So it takes a pretty substantial buy-in. You have to buy the territory, the area for New Jersey. And then it costs, if we're using just round numbers, it costs about $500,000
Really?
To actually build a restaurant.
Well, that's how much it costs, but you don't have to come up with that in cash. You can.
Right. Yep. You can get a loan through the SBA. And
Okay.
so right around, that's in October. My partner, who kind of wasn't involved at that point, I had just been like, this is what I'm going to do, And then I had a partner who was a friend of mine, and we spent a lot of time at his apartment in Philadelphia, and we kind of he was very, to me, he always seemed very professional, and he had a party in December, and I just said, hey man, do you want to partner with me? I'm going down this road, and I'm going to do it, but I think it'd be wise if I brought on a partner.
Right.
Somebody like
Two heads are better than one. I'm a firm believer.
Two heads are better than one. And my partner Jim is an Air Force Academy grad.
Yeah. Izumi.
He's very good with spreadsheets and
Yep.
keeping things in order.
Yep.
Things that I'm just not the best at, right? And here we are 12 years later. We have two of the most successful Pancheros in the country, in the franchise world. And
What store was that you first opened?
We first opened in Voorhees.
Voorhees,
Yeah,
okay.
which was not our plan. Our plan was to open where the Marlton store currently is.
Right.
And I bought the area for that. But it just so happened the landlord wasn't ready. Wasn't ready for it to be leased yet. It was still kind of a rough shell. And we were ready to go. I mean, knowing what I know now, we weren't ready to go.
Right.
But we thought we were ready to go. So we just rushed through construction. Thank God we did a franchise because they gave us a little bit of instruction on how to do all this. And we rushed through construction, had all kinds of delays like there always is. And we opened in the fall of 2009, right when the rest of the world was really coming to grasp.
Just coming out of that big recession.
Right. And
Right.
they're coming to grasp with the fact that, like, wow, like, home prices are low. Looking back on it now, you're like, what were we thinking? 2009, and you guys are starting a brand new business, and it's had its benefits. At first, we did not do well. We underestimated there was not a burrito eating population in South Jersey.
So what did you do wrong? I mean, Voorhees is successful now, right?
Right, yeah.
So when you say I would have done it differently or you did it wrong, or what did you do wrong or what would you do differently today?
So there's nothing we could have done differently. We stuck with it. I think maybe some other people that maybe are multi-unit franchisees would have just walked away. But this was our horse. This was it.
Right.
We put it all on. We put it all on this location, and we made every mistake in the book you can make. We were giving away food for fundraisers and after-school specials and everything that ultimately paid off, but it was not advisable. We did things that were not advisable by the franchise corporation at first, like an after-school special, giving burritos away for $3 from 2 to 4 every day.
Well, Well,
But-
but you got people in the store. Why, I mean, so you're giving them, what'd you say, 2 for $4 or 3 or 4? I'm sorry, what was that?
We did half price, like
Okay.
$3 burrito.
Okay, it's half price.
Yeah.
But were you losing money at $3 or you were, it
Yeah.
was cost?
Yeah, we were losing money.
Literally?
Yeah,
Okay.
we were losing money. And all that, was a learning experience, a hard learning experience. And we stuck with it, and we stuck through the downtime. And right at the 2-year mark, it was like a light switched on. And all of the stuff that we did, like with the after school special, it all started paying off. And until to this day, now we've been open 12 years, we have people in their 30s coming back that were juniors or seniors in high school when we first opened. And it was like a mad rush. You'd get done, the bell would ring over at Eastern High School, and we'd have 200 kids in our store, and it was like the max at Saved by the Bell.
So why are you saying, this is part of the woes of business. In the early years, you're trying to establish the foundation of building your client base, or you did that.
Right.
So why do you think, what would you have done differently? I mean, you were successful
Right.
because of that.
Right. Yeah, so, I would say you're right. We probably jumped our success a few months ahead of time, but ultimately, if we didn't do all the discounts and after school specials, we would have been successful. The people in South Jersey.
At the time.
warm
But
right.
you are more successful today
Right.
because you did those,
Yep.
because you brought people in that may not have otherwise come in.
Exactly. So, like I said, we made mistakes, but they ended up not really being mistakes. I mean, we have the hindsight of looking back now as two very successful.
Yeah,
restaurant
hindsight's
owners.
20/20,
Yeah,
right?
Right. And so, I mean, we're today, as I mentioned before the show, like we're in the middle of building a restaurant in Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
And it will be the most expensive restaurant in the Pancheros franchise ever built.
Really?
Yeah, and we, have to. I mean, come on, we're building in the middle of pandemic. Everybody's hearing about labor and labor and materials, and so every day we're having to really make tough decisions on, proceeding, timing.
Right.
Building this thing now, waiting to opening this fall or waiting to open next spring, and so. Those are the decisions that the bosses have to make, and you have
Sure.
to live with. And
Right.
so as of even this morning, we're making life-changing business decisions, and we're hoping, years from now we're sitting back and saying, "Wow, we opened a restaurant in the middle of a pandemic."
Right.
Look how smart that was.
Well,
because
you
right
think about that.
now it doesn't feel that smart. So,
This is great. I'd like to pick up on that as well as the second store. So you're talking
Sure.
about the third store. We'll pick up with that. We've got a break coming up. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with Mike in a few moments.
Have you saved enough for retirement? Are you financially prepared for an emergency or unexpected event? Have you thought about your financial future?
Hi, I'm Mike Menninger, founder of Menninger & Associates Financial Planning. For over 20 years, we have been answering our clients' questions just like these as we develop unique and comprehensive financial plans tailored to meet their needs. When addressing your financial plan, we incorporate your entire financial picture, including taxes, estate planning, as well as investment planning and retirement planning. So call us today for a complimentary, no obligation consultation.
A unique approach to financial planning.
Welcome back to Financial Plan and Explain. I'm Mike Menninger, your host, and we're here still with Mike Yurcho, owner of 3 franchises of Pancheros here in South Jersey. We talked about the woes that you went through with your first one. You began to talk about you're about to open the third one, which is interesting, and I'm really interested in that topic, but we skipped the second one.
Right.
So 2008 to 2009 is when you opened the first one at what we reference as bad timing. You made what you think are mistakes. I'm not necessarily agreeing with you, but you made business decisions at that time. Tell me about your second store.
Well, the second store, after year two in the first store, and things really started to rock and roll, and we kind of became a hot spot for young people in South Jersey, and it's a new type of food.
It's terrific. That's the store I was at when you opened it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a new type of food, and it's the type of food that when you first get into it, like when kids have their first breather, whether it's with us or with a competitor, it's exciting. You're like, hey, have you had a Pancheros burrito yet? It's the greatest thing. They make the tortillas fresh and mix all the ingredients, and so that really started to catch on, and we wanted to expand our footprint, but stay pretty local to our core customers. So Berlin, being on Route 73, was the spot we were looking for, and a lot of our customers that are going up and down Route 73 stop there when they're on the move. It's kind of a more on the go location.
How far are the two stores apart?
They're 4 miles apart.
Oh my goodness, that's hardly
and
anything.
same with this one. So with the
Yeah,
one,
but 4 miles can be
right,
half an
exactly.
hour.
So we have one 4 miles to the east, and now we're going to have one 4 miles to the west in Cherry Hill.
Oh wow, so this is, I didn't realize, because
Yeah.
I don't know my geography over here, but
Right.
okay.
Yeah,
they're all very close.
They're all relatively close, 10 to 12 minutes away from each other.
Okay.
But Berlin, we reaped a lot of success of building our brand in Voorhees, and it was a good construction project. It went off without a lot of drama, and the restaurant opened and was successful from day one. So there's not a lot of dramatic stories with the Berlin restaurant. It's very successful. It's right off Route 73 as you're coming back from the shore. It's one of the first restaurants you'll actually hit.
That helps.
Coming off the AC
Oh,
Expressway.
that helps, I'm sure. Well, that was open, what, in 16, right?
In 16.
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
because I remember that. I remember your opening.
And so that's had a rapid success. And even through COVID, with online pickup and delivery, this restaurant has excelled because we're on the road.
Yeah.
And the statistics, and now it's so nice that we have all these analytics that we didn't have in 2009, but with the app statistics and mobile ordering and Uber Eats, a lot of that, what we experienced in Berlin and the data we have from that, we're now applying to Cherry Hill. So the Cherry Hill location is not in a big power center with a big anchor grocery store or Home Depot.
Right.
It's right on the road. It's got a big parking lot. You always know you're going to be able to get a spot. It's 20 feet off the road, 30 feet off the road, and you can't miss it. So we took the concept of what we did in Berlin, and we're applying it to Cherry Hill, where the population is triple, the traffic volumes are triple, and candidly, our parking lot is triple the size.
Good.
So, yeah.
Well, you have a lot of people actually come in as opposed to drive-through, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we don't have a drive-through.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we don't have a drive-through. Most people are starting to eat in the restaurant again, which we love. And if you're on the go, you used to be able to know with Pancheros, you could be in and out the door in 5 minutes with your food, no matter what. No matter if there's a line out the door, you can go. Now, with mobile ordering in our app, our Pancheros online app, you can order. It gives you your time to pick up. You come in the restaurant, you skip the line, you pay for it on your app, and we have a nice bag with all your food and everything ready to go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you just go up to the cash register. You have a little table with everybody's food ready to go.
Nice.
And then Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub and all the delivery services, we have their own little dedicated pickup areas. So those guys don't even need to come in the store and interrupt the flow of traffic.
That's one of the advantages what the pandemic did. It kind of created that whole DoorDash thing, or
Right.
at least, I don't know if it
Propagated
created it.
it,
But
yeah.
yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the question, tell me if you can answer it. So my only experience was Taco Bell, which is very fast food, like it. But when I went to your restaurant, I could tell there's just like night and day difference in just the quality of the food. But I've never been to a Chipotle. Are you
Sure.
allowed to talk about the comparison?
I don't see why not. Yeah, I mean, a Chipotle, is not. We're relatively in the same genre of food,
of course.
food service, right? So Chipotle, where we differ, and I'll leave it up to the customers to think whether we're better or not. If I'm on the road and there's a Chipotle where I live, I'll stop and eat there. I prefer Pancheros, but if it's there, I'll eat it.
Right.
It's not that much different. The things that we do different, which I would consider better, is when you first come up to our serving counter, we make our tortillas fresh. So you start with a dough ball, we put it on there, we press it fresh, and then you go down the serving line, and you get to make your own food. That's what we have. Hardly any food return because
Wait a minute, cook it right on the spot?
we cook the tortilla right in front of you.
Are you been to a Pancheros?
I'm familiar with Chipotle's. I didn't know that you guys pressed out the ball. That's really cool.
That's right. Yeah. So Chipotle pulls a tortilla out of a bag that comes from a freezer or refrigerator, and they put it in a warmer or a steamer.
Right.
And then you go down the line.
Yes.
Right.
And at the end of the line, they just wrap the burrito. What we do at Pancheros, which is we make the tortilla fresh, so it's nice and warm. We put all your ingredients in the burrito just the way you like it, and then at the end we have a little spatula called Bob the Tool, and we mix all the ingredients up in the burrito so you don't get a bad bite of food. So you don't get like a bite
all
of
rice.
you don't get a bite of sour cream or just rice. And so you can see Chipotle, they kind of fold their burrito back and forth to mix those ingredients. But from what I understand is the Pancheros, we patented that idea.
Oh, really?
So we're the only fast casual restaurant that can use an implement to mix the ingredients in a burrito.
Really? That's Bob.
And that's Bob the Tool, right?
Bob the Tool.
So, our chips are different. Their chips have a little bit of lime on it. We use blue tortilla chips. Other than that, we have burritos, bowls, quesadillas, tacos, and salads. We have world-class queso, our cheese dip.
Yeah.
It's just the best. Like I will say our queso, in my opinion,
Queso's good.
it's just the best.
I can't wait until you open the store right on the corner.
So that's how we're different. I'll leave it to the customers whether they want to go there or to our restaurant. And I don't think customers veer out of their way. Let's face it. Like I think if somebody has, I'm going to get a burrito, and there's a Chipotle there, they'll go to Chipotle. I think if we're close by, they would come to us. I mean, statistics show that in South Jersey, they would rather come to us. So, with that being said, I'm just a fan. The reason I got into this is I'm just a fan of that type of food.
Right.
The Southwest burrito food. So, Chipotle moved in around us in year 3 and 4.
Really?
I mean, they tried
Which one?
To my best one, Voorhees. They put one 300 yards away, on the same side of the road.
Used to. Did you put them out of business?
No, they're still there.
Oh, all right.
They're still there.
Dang.
We put the Baja Fresh out of business. So my apologies to whoever owned the Baja.
Mr. Baja,
yeah,
right?
Mr. Baja. But we put the Taco Bell out of business too in Voorhees.
Wow.
But like I said, Chipotle, they came to this area after we had been here, and they surrounded us essentially. And all they did was create more burrito eaters. So my mom and dad, who are retired school teachers, when Chipotle came, they get out, sell while you can. McDonald's owns 47% of their stock. You can't compete with that. And we said no, our food's better. Why would I run? I believe in the food, or that's my opinion. And so all they did, our sales went down when they first opened 300 yards away from us. And in the same year, our sales were up over 25%.
Wow.
Well, it's interesting because the Chipotle is a giant corporation.
Right.
And my understanding, and I'm not sure which is which, but I think it's McDonald's. If you notice, wherever there's a McDonald's, there's a Burger King nearby.
Sure.
And same thing. They make the same thing.
Right.
Well, my understanding is that McDonald's is the master at identifying the location. They do all the demographics, all the stuff that goes into it.
Sure.
And Burger King says, cool, obviously that must be a good spot, and they plop one right next to it.
Right.
Yeah, maybe not literally right next to it, but close enough. And that gives the consumer the ability, hey, you know what, I prefer McDonald's, or
Right.
the next guy might prefer Burger King. But that's testament to your location
Right.
if Chipotle's going to put one there.
Yeah, and when we're head to head, we're better. I mean, we do more sales.
Good.
So, I like to. I'm a big fan of history. I listen to a lot of history podcasts when I'm driving around. But I've always approached this as kind of like a burrito battlefield in South Jersey. I mean, I have. You know, and 295 is kind of the like debarkation line where I'm like the little rebellion force going to fight the empire, and we've for the most part stayed on this side of 295, but we're starting to build. We have Pancheros, Mount Laurel, Marlton, Voorhees, Cherry Hill, Berlin, and I'm trying to build up my forces, and one day I'm going to take on the empire and go to this side of 295. So right now,
So you foresee yourself building more stores?
absolutely, yeah.
Good.
But like I said, it's if you look at history and look at where franchises have failed or franchisees have failed, they go into some type of rapid growth scenario because they taste success, and so they're like, well, if one's good, then five's good, and if I can manage 5, I'm going to do 10.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, those are the real when you go to the franchise conferences, those are the real horror stories. So, we're very happy with the way we've been growing. We're averaging a new restaurant every 4 years, and I think one day we might do a restaurant maybe every 2 years, but we're not going to overstep our bounds, and put ourselves into some type of a bad financial situation.
Right. No, you don't want to do that. That's not wise. That's not wise. We're wrapping up. Kyle, did you want to ask him something?
Oh, I just, I find your entire story fascinating. Just having the composure in the first couple of years, or even when Chipotle moved in to,
Right.
dig into your brand, understand what you have. The fact that it was built on, you had a business background, it was a good business opportunity, and your love for Southwestern style Chipotle, foods is, I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. There's been ups and downs. It's like it's like a little bit of life.
That's right.
Some of it's magic and some of it's tragic, but
Well, it's all good because, you use the experience that you learned from Voorhees to apply to Berlin, and now
Subsequently,
the most expensive store,
Yeah.
which is soon to be determined as to when it's going to open. Mike, this was terrific. My goodness, the time goes by so fast. I'd like you to take a moment. I don't know if there's any message that you want to send out, or where people can open their own franchise, whether people want to talk to you about whatever they may want to do with a franchise. How do you get a franchise? Advertise your new store. Whatever you look at the camera, that one over
sure,
there.
yeah. So I just want to thank all the people of South Jersey for believing in Pancheros and eating our food and helping us grow our business over the last 12 years. And coming this fall should be a Cherry Hill Pancheros right on Route 70. We'd love to see you there. And I just appreciate all the support and love that we've seen from our customers over the years. And hopefully we'll keep going and keep making, as our tagline says, burritos better built for years to come. So
Make better burritos again.
yeah. No, it's
Building better burritos. That's
no,
the
it says it all. It says it all over our
Yep.
store. Burritos better built.
Yep.
And
BBB.
so that's kind of the tagline we live by, and until somebody proves me wrong, I think we build the best burrito in South Jersey.
Excellent. Well, that's cool. Your business model is awesome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Mike. Appreciate it. It was excellent. I love hearing these stories. I love hearing these stories of building franchises because, Mike did it when he was 27. And, followed a dream, and whether it's a Pancheros or whatever, follow your dream, but do it in a smart and systematic way. And we all make mistakes, but you got to learn from your mistakes. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Signing off. Have a great day and have a great week.